who is called agriculturist, what is called assessment. In the agenda, what happens? The concept as well as definitions we will study. You have to write the explanation along with business includes 5 points. While taking input tax credit, capital goods will play a major role. Your sales return always comes with credit note and purchase return always comes with debit note. Hello everyone, this is your Adarsh sir, lecturing Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. So we are in the session 3 of your topic called Indirect Tax. Indirect Tax, we are doing Unit 2. Unit 2 is all talks about definitions. What is your definitions actually? As I told, there are 24 definitions are there. Before you do any problems in GST or before you do any calculation, you must know what are these definitions. What is business? What is aggregate turnover? And what is a place of delivery? Who is called agriculturist? What is called assessment? These are the topics you must know before you learn your GST. That's why we are going in detail about your GST. Now, the first topic will talk about agenda. In the agenda, what happens? The concept as well as definitions we will study. Concept along with definitions we will study concept also. The first definition is called as business. Now, so business includes, as per GST, what is business? Like normally business means what? Any buying and selling happens, we call it as business. Any transaction happen for motive is profit making is called business. But what about GST? As per GST, what is business? We will understand in today's class. Now, business includes, before we study what is business, it includes what? If you know that business includes these are the things, then it will be easy for you to understand. Now, any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, or any other similar activity, whether or not it is for a pecuniary benefit. Means, as I told you, any transaction, it may be goods or services, you have transacted for the motive of earning profit, for the motive of getting benefit is called as business. Like, any trade means what? Buying and selling, we call it as trade. Commerce, you know that what is commerce actually. Manufacture, it is also one of the business. Profession, like your doctor, lawyer, all comes under service sectors. Profession. Vocations, occasion in the sense of the way when you have manufactured, when you are manufacturing, what purpose you are manufacturing. Along with that, any other similar activities, whether or not, whether it happened or not, if it is the reason is to earn benefit, then we call it as business. It is your first point. Second one, any activity or transaction in connection with or incidental or auxiliary or along with above one. Now, so above why they have mentioned means incidental or auxiliary, it is nothing but whatever we have discussed like commerce, trade, manufacturing, your profession, your services, occasion, all directly. These are the first point, we call it as direct. The second point, we call it as indirect. Like I can take an example of your manufacturing of Fiat cars. Now, so the manufacturer, if you buy a car, they will mention that you bought Fiat car. If you buy Honda vehicles, they will say that you bought Honda car. Now, they never mention that you got MRF tire, because MRF tire, which are called as incidental or auxiliary, means they are the one of the job worker to the cars. Now, the Honda cars will not manufacture MRF tires. They will take from job work. They take from others. So, indirectly, the MRF team, they will support your Honda car, because The tires will be manufactured in MRF and it will be assembled to Honda vehicles. So these are called as incidental or auxiliary. Clear? So whatever we have discussed in the A, these things will support indirectly. Now, and the third one, any activity or transaction in the nature of A above, whether or not there is a volume, frequency, continuity. Whether there is not volume means in the sense, so I am the manufacturer, I'll produce 100 tons of unit. One more manufacturer, he is a small trader, he will produce only 100 units. For me, it is 1000. For him, it is only 100. So there is no difference between volume. He is also GST payer, I am also GST payer. For him also it is business, for me also it is business. Irrespective of volume, we consider this as business. Along with that, frequency, continuity, like I'll do manufacture, like I am the manufacturer of umbrella. Umbrella, when you can, umbrella raincoats. Now, normally I can manufacture in the month of October, in the month of December, in the month of March, like whenever we have rainy season, that time I'll manufacture more, I can sell more. Other month, if there is no rain only, who will wear raincoat? My production will be less, my sales will be less. So these are called as frequency and continuity. We cannot sell that the umbrella manufacturer is not a business, because even though he manufactures only 3 months in a year, he is also called as business. That is also called as business. There is no frequency, there is no continuity. Once in a year, 1 month if you manufacture also, he is called as business. Clear? Yes. Last one, supply or acquisition of goods including capital asset and services in connection with commencement or closure of business. Like you have used machines, you have used motor vehicles, you have used some capital item for the sake of manufacturing. All comes under in the concept of business only. Now, we'll go to next point. Provisions by club. Club all comes under what? Service oriented. Now, association, society, any such body for a subscription of any other consideration. Normally, club works are run how? So, the club will run like, you have to give me subscription 50,000. It will be lifetime subscription, membership. Or else, take lifetime membership for 50,000. Every year, you pay me 5,000 as subscription. All comes under your subscription category. Under subscription, you're supposed to pay monthly, yearly, quarterly, however they demands. Now, normally the run and club runs on the basis of whatever subscription they collect, whatever subscription they receives. We call it as your club, society, such body of subscription, any other consideration of the facilities or benefit to its members as the case may be. Clear? Yes. Next. Admission for a consideration of person to any premises and services supplied by the person as a holder of an office which has been accepted by him in the course of furtherance of his trade, profession or vocation. Same thing repeated. Now, the last point, we have learned all the things like which are included in the business. But what is business? You didn't get. Now, that what is business, we will learn now in the explanation. Now, any activity or transaction undertakes by the central government, a state government or any local authority in which they are engaged as public authority shall be deemed to be a business. Hope you understood. Yes, this is all about we call it as business. So you have to write the explanation along with business includes 5 points. Which are those 5 points? These are the 5 points. A, B, C, D, E, F. Totally I have 6 points actually. You are supposed to write all 6 points. Clear? This is all about your 5-mark question on business. Now, I'll go to the next one, capital goods. Very important, capital goods. Why? Because while taking input tax credit, capital goods will play a major role. Now, I don't go detail for calculation and all. Why? Because you have only theory on this. Now, the concept of capital goods in GST law, the term capital goods has been defined. Capital goods means goods the value of which is capitalized in the books of account of the person claiming input tax credit and which are intended to be used in the course of furtherance of business. What are the capital goods? Like you have purchased a machinery for 10 lakh. You have purchased a machinery for 10 lakh. That machinery is used for what? Used for manufacturing. So whatever the machinery you have used for manufacturing purpose, so the machinery value is 10 lakh. On 10 lakh, you have paid 18% GST. It will be 1,80,000. This 1,80,000 we can call it as input tax. This input tax you can claim while paying your sales. For sales, whatever you have charged tax, from output tax you can deduct this input. But you have certain condition to claim input tax credit. I'll explain you later while doing particular problems. Now, therefore, under GST, in order to consider a good as capital goods, the following should be satisfied. Whether it is a capital goods or not, for that the few conditions are there. If those conditions are satisfied, we call this as capital goods. Now, it should be good. Good is defined to cover movable property other than money, shares, land and building are not goods. So it is not good actually, it is goods. Like land and building. So if you want to call it as a capital goods means it must be what? Movable. It must be movable. Land and building, can you move? Now it is in now some Vijayanagar. Can you move it to JP Nagar? No, you cannot shift that. Now you have portable houses also, but right now for this GST meaning, the land and building we cannot move, so that it is not considered as goods. Now, for to claim GST, the capital asset should be movable. Machinery, you can move from one place to another place. Generator, you can shift from one place to another place. Some expensive tools, you can shift from one place to another place. Your vehicles, you can shift from one place to another place. These are called as movable goods. Next, when the benefit goods capitalized in the books of accounts from the goods can be received for more than a year and used in the course of business. That is, the capital goods is used in connection or in relation to the business. See, you have purchased today, tomorrow you have sold that. You cannot claim. Minimum, you have to keep it for 6 months. Remember, minimum, you are supposed to keep it for 180 days or 6 months. There are so many conditions are there to claim input tax credit. I'll tell you while doing the problems. So, points to be taken care while availing the credit of capital goods. So, if you want to take an credit of capital goods input, what are the procedures? Now, I'll tell you before that what is input. Like you purchase an asset, movable asset, capital goods for 1 lakh. On that you have paid tax of 18,000. So later you are doing some sale, buying and all. You are supposed to pay. Forget about this. I'll come later. You have done your assessment. You are supposed to pay 40,000 tax. How much GST you have to pay? 40,000. At the time of purchase of asset, you already paid 18,000. This 18,000 can be claimed. You are supposed to pay 22,000. This 18,000 you can claim when, if you fulfill all this condition. 18,000 at a time you cannot claim. It is also on the life of the asset. You have to calculate and you have to claim. All those procedures are there. I'll tell you. Now, what is the first point? In GST, the credit can be availed on the capital goods provided the depreciation of tax component is not claimed. A similar provision was there in the send-back credit also. See, if there is any depreciation on that particular asset, you are not supposed to consider. The depreciation portion will not be considered as your input tax credit. Then ITC stands for input tax credit. ITC, input tax credit. Hope you are clear. Yes, ITC of capital goods can be availed fully if the capital goods are used only for the supply of taxable goods or services. If it is a taxable goods or services, then you can claim. Now, next part in this, points to be taken care while availing the credit. Yes, ITC of capital goods cannot be availed fully if the capital goods are used only for manufacturing or selling of providing exempt goods. See, whatever you are manufacturing, it is a exempt goods only. Then how can you claim this? You cannot claim. There is no output tax only. If it is a taxable goods, then you can claim. See, only the definitions I am telling, but exactly you will understand when I do with the numbers. When I do with the numbers, you will get clarification. Now, right now, you have to remember only points. Don't go into practical life. Why? Because practically calculation will do it later. ITC of capital goods cannot be availed fully if the capital goods are used for only manufacturing of, selling of, providing exempt goods are there, then you cannot claim. Next, if the capital goods are usually partly for taxable and partly for exempted, then the credit of the capital goods related to the particular month should be reversed, which is attributed to exempt supplies on the proportionate turnover. Like, so what happens? Your input is 18,000 already paid. Your output tax is 0. Why? Because it is exempt. Exempt means there is no tax only. Whatever you paid, you cannot claim in your lifetime. Sometimes what happens? Half is taxable, half is exempted goods. Whatever taxable is there, proportionately you can claim. Like 9,000 you can claim. You cannot claim 18,000 because half is taxable, half is exempted. According to proportionate of your turnover, you have to bifurcate how much is exempted, how much is taxable. According to that, you are supposed to claim. These are the points. And your last definition for the day, it is a debit note as well as credit note. Your sales return and purchase return, we go with your credit note as well as debit note. Your sales return always comes with credit note and purchase return always comes with debit note. Like, if you have purchased something, you found that it is damaged, what you will do? You will return the goods. Simply you cannot return the goods. Along with that, you have to show them some document. What is a document? It will be debit note. Clear? Along with debit note, you have to prepare a debit note. In that you have to mention 10 units I am returning due to it is damaged. 10 units which are damaged, that's why I am giving it back. That is called debit note. Hope you are clear? Yes. Now, credit note and debit note, when goods are supplied or returned or when there is a revision in the invoice value due to goods or services not being up to the mark. I have asked for A1 quality, but I have given B quality. Then what I will do? I will return the goods. I will reject the goods. So simply you cannot return or reject. Along with that, you have to send them a document. That document we call it as debit as well as credit. How to remember? Like, purchase return, you will give debit note. Sales return, you will give credit note. So PD, Police Department, Social Science. Social Science, Police Department. That is the logic to remember. Purchase return, debit note. Sales return, it is credit note. Hope you are clear. Yes. So debit note or credit note is issued by the supplier and a receiver of the goods and services. Hope you are clear. Now, so when we issue debit note in the following cases, when the original tax invoice has been issued and taxable value in the invoice is less than actual taxable if there is any corrections needed. Original tax invoice has been issued and the tax charged in the invoice is less than the actual tax has been paid. Yes. And debit note will be include a supplementary invoice. Along with the invoice, you have to attach the debit note and you have to issue. So cases where credit note is issued, like original tax invoice, same procedure, original tax invoice, same. Recipient return the goods, services are found to be deficient, and credit note will be included supplementary to invoice. These are the things you are supposed to remember. Clear? Yes. I have not given detailed explanation. Why? Because for your 5 marks, in detail not required. Whatever points I have mentioned here, that is sufficient. I'll go back to all these slides so that you can take screenshot. The first one is about business. Continuation. 8th one, capital goods. Continuation of capital goods. Continuation. Your 9th one, debit note as well as credit note. Your cases where debit note has to be issued. Cases where credit note has to be issued. This is all about your today's session. Hope you understood what is business, what is debit note and credit note, as well as what is capital goods. Hope you understood. Yes. So please study one by one. We have done with 9 definitions. Almost I am covering important definitions in the beginning. At the end, I'll come with 7 to 8 definitions, small one, which are least important for your examination. Thank you.